Thank you. Thank you, Marla, for that introduction. One dangerous woman to another. And may I add my deepest gratitude and congratulations to the Skoll awardees. What an exceptional... How lucky we are to have you in this community. And a collective appreciation and gratitude to this beloved community of change makers, committed to solving the world's most pressing problems. And as we know, that is Jeff Skoll's vision, mission, and commitment to what we are rightly acknowledging this year as the ecology of us. And today we welcome to this beloved community someone who might be described as a Hollywood legend. He certainly starred in some of the most popular stories and iconic films of our generation. But Richard Gere's story is so much more than that. And it's largely defined by his devotion to and advocacy for the Buddhist teachings of kindness and compassion. Teachings that he acknowledges have been deepened through his longtime relationship with the man beloved by this community and the world, His Holiness the Dalai Lama. A man we recognized in 2016 with the Skoll Global Treasure Award. So please join me in welcoming to our community, Richard Gere. I think you're already a part of two.
I live in Spain now.
You have to be careful with those kisses, you know. Richard, it's so great to have you here. And
well, thanks for, look, I didn't know that much about this, and I'm so impressed with the quality of people here. You know, we just showed the film we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
But how down to earth everyone is, and how open everyone is to the good works of others. It's very important to cheer on and be joyous about the good works that everyone does. So I'm happy to be part of this.
Well, we know it's your first time, but you have already acknowledged what distinguishes this community from so many of the other gatherings in the world. These are people who are every day facing some of the biggest challenges of our times, but I think we'd have to also say these are people who are already practicing compassion and kindness, or they wouldn't be able to do the work that they do. But I want to know if we can begin the story of your journey and how that practice, the Buddhist teachings of kindness and compassion, have defined your life and your work.
When you ask a question like that, I have to think before Buddhism. I have to think to my father. And my father, Homer Gere, he was born on a farm in Pennsylvania, in the mountains, and he grew up milking cows. And it was a small community that everyone took care of each other. The aims weren't high, you know, they dealt with the forces of nature, whether it was going to rain and they would have crops, and whether the animals would be healthy. They learned to live with nature, they learned to live with each other, loving each other through bad times, good times, loving times. His mother died when he was 13 in a very dramatic way on the farm. And he had to ride a horse to get to a phone that would call an ambulance. So I grew up with a small town mentality. My caregivers were very involved with each other in their communities. And my father ended up selling insurance. So he was almost like a priest in that community. When there was a fire, they called my house. I would get these calls in the middle of the night. Whatever happened, there was a call to my dad. And I didn't understand that, of course, as a kid. Mm-hmm. I just knew that my dad was not there. And he was always getting in the car, some real piece of shit car, to go and help people. But I think it internalized with me over time, and it was in my 20s, I think, before I really realized where my dad was coming from.
Wow.
And this sense of, he was never alone because he cared. And he never felt separate. And there was something about my own search to get out of my own sense of suffering and finding in Buddhism an understanding of where Richard Gere sits in this vast universe. And I began to realize that I don't exist alone and separate, is that I am very much a part of everything, and everything is a part of me. And the more that I've been able to give myself to that, the more there has been joy in my life, and there's been more bliss. And there's been more openness, along with the problems and the things we all have to deal with. But an underlying sense of there is purpose. And I see everyone here has a sense of purpose. And it's a wonderful community. I look out here and I see a lot of white hair, which makes me happy. But I also see, even below that white hair, a lot of kids. I think everyone here has maintained a kind of a joyous, childlike wonder at the universe. And what is this thing to be alive? What is this thing that we're still breathing? Why are we going through this? And we have innate kind of moments where, oh, I get it. We go, and we go big. Our minds become big, our hearts become big, and we go, oh, that's the purpose. And then our habitual tendencies take over again and we become small. But I think everyone in this room has a dynamic of that, of understanding that the purpose of our life is to help others.
I want to talk more about that dynamic, but when you say joyful, childlike joy of life, I think of the man whose gift of a story you have brought to us today. His Holiness the Dalai Lama. He's always joyful. And in Wisdom of Happiness, the film that you've gifted this community, some of you got to see it today. I urge everyone to see all of it. And I'd like to start by introducing those.
I urge you, by the way, let me just stop you for a second.
Sure.
You can see this on a screen at home or on your iPad. The best way to see it is with other people. The screening that I just came from, and I don't know, there was 100, 150 people there. There is something about the theatrical experience, which is part of our nature as human beings. Storytelling in the dark with other people. It kind of breaks down the idea of who we are. We're not pumped up beings anymore. You sit in the dark, and storytelling, we're all children, and we're kind of open. And this movie, I've seen it all over the world, literally all over the world, with audiences everywhere, all different ages, languages, mores, customs. And this sense, when the lights come up, of community, and sense that all things are possible, is extremely palpable. So we're going to make the film available, hopefully online. You'll be able to get it at some point. But the times that you are available to see it with other people, please see it that way, okay?
I completely agree. It's heart-opening. And there is no way to listen to this man and not feel more compassionate, more kind, and more joyful. So
Pat met him before I did, it turns out. She met him in 74, is that what you said?
Yeah,
And it was
actually.
in 81 when I met him.
Well, we were almost there together, but I must say it was a life-changing moment for me.
By the way, she was 4 years old when she met him. I was much older.
That's very kind of you, Mr. Gere. So we can't show the whole film, but I do really urge you to find a way to see Wisdom of Happiness. But we are going to share some scenes from the film.
Great.
So let's take a look.
Brothers and sisters of this small planet, when your mind is a little bit disturbed, take deep breathing. not talking about God, not talking about next life. This very life, just one life. A billion human beings. Everybody, including our enemy, wants peace. But peace not come from sky. Our 21st century will not be easy century. A lot of difficulties come. Destructive actions come from destructive emotions. So now our world needs knowledge about our mind, about our emotions, and how to tackle these emotions. The very purpose of our life is happiness, joyfulness. If you have inner peace, then you achieve happy life.
You know, there have been many films made about His Holiness. There's something very special about this one, the way he talks directly to the camera. It feels as if you are in conversation with him. And I wonder why, at this particular moment in our time, that you felt this film could be especially relevant.
You know, that's evolved. Films don't happen overnight. And I think the original impulse of the Swiss filmmakers who had originated this, and I didn't know. I knew the cinematographer was actually a friend of mine, has been around His Holiness for decades, still photographer, Manuel Bauer, and a wonderful photographer. He had never shot anything on video before, or on film. And so they started making this movie, and I knew about it, but as you said, there's been 100 films, more, made about His Holiness. Some of them very good, some of them not so good. But people fall in love with His Holiness, and they want to tell a story about him. So this came to me about 2 years ago. I had known about it, but my friends, actually, Tensho Gyatso, who's sitting over here, who runs the international campaign for Tibet. Stand up, honey. Is Tensho there? There she is. My partner and my friend, co-conspirator, and making good trouble around the world. So she said, look, it's time for you to see the film. So played it for me in New York. And I saw it with my wife. She was in tears immediately. Now, parallel to this, the Dalai Lama's 90th birthday was coming up. And I had been thinking, you know, we want to do something special for this special birthday. And it occurred to me quite powerfully that this would be the centerpiece of that. As a culmination and a testament and also a celebration of an extraordinary life, a meaningful life, and an extreme life in terms of joy, happiness, and wisdom. And so we started working on it. I felt that it could be better. I wanted to bring in some other editorial possibilities, some other film that we had found, some other old film that no one had ever seen before. The footage of His Holiness in the snow when he was a younger man.
Beautiful film.
But no one had ever seen it. It had been negatives that had never been printed. And this is 2 years ago. In the last 2 years, we have all seen what has happened to our world. And I'm deeply ashamed, and I apologize to all of you, what the U.S. has given to the rest of the world. And this person who's leading us, I put in quotes, leading us, this is a very dark time. My hope is, and our hope, I think, of all of us, is that this film is a corrective of who we really are as human beings, what our possibilities are. Not to hate each other, to bomb each other, kill each other, speak poorly of each other, but to embrace each other as fellow creatures of love and compassion. of
Yeah.
joy and bliss.
Yeah, I'd like to start there for something that's been very much on my mind since seeing the film and recognizing that this is a community of people who every day are looking at poverty, dealing with discrimination, all the inequities that make us angry, the conflict and violence that can make us fearful, and how in those moments, and the Dalai Lama's life wasn't without pain, certainly, and the film reminds us of that. So how in those moments do we practice compassion and kindness?
It's very clear that these negative emotions, the afflictive emotions, don't go away on their own. We have to work at this. And it's a lifetime practice. It's every day. As much time we can put into it in every situation. And certainly when that sense of hopelessness, again, watching the film I saw today, how we know the word hope. Yes, we need hope. When His Holiness talks about hope, you feel it a different way. This is not just, I hope I get a better job, or I hope I make more money. This hope is much vaster than that. The hope that comes out of truly believing we are bigger than what we appear to be right now. That the world is a perfect, joyous place if we let it be that. And in fact, if we work to make that happen. And it's an everyday process of working on yourself, where of course afflictive emotions come up. Of course we get angry, we get frustrated, and we lose our patience, and we say bad things that we didn't mean, but we say it. And sometimes when we get angry, we feel so righteous in our anger. And then 10 minutes later, we realize it didn't help anything, and it was completely foolish and only made things worse. But continually watching our minds. Meditation is basically watching your mind. Watching the mind, watching the thoughts, watching the emotions. Understanding that the negative emotions don't do us any good, ever. And stop it before they manifest in ourselves or in the world.
Is that what you do? Meditation?
That's my practice. But there's formal meditation, of course, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to have over a 50-year daily practice. Not that I'm saying I'm anything special, but at least I've done that. Having a formal practice is a big deal, for sure. You do make progress. If you want to play the piano, you practice. Simple as that. You want to build muscles, you go to the gym and you lift weights. It's as simple as that.
Right.
If you want to have a big open heart, you do the practice to make that happen.
And it's often been said that we have to do that kind of work on ourselves, that kind of personal transformation in order to have the collective action that this whole community is working
No, you can
towards.
feel it here. Look, this is a group of people who are leaning that way. I mean, my hope is that this group who personally feel that way, you're all alpha people, right? This is alpha men and women in this room who make things happen, and it's pretty extraordinary, which is why I wanted to be here, frankly, and engage people who have it, that basic impulse and strength and skill, power to make things happen. If everyone in this room worked together with their own expertise, we all do something better than something else. We all have our thing.
Yeah.
If all of our extraordinary things of each one of us creates this beautiful connection with everyone else's extraordinary quality, we really can change the world now, right now.
Yeah. Well, there's something else the Dalai Lama recommends that might change the world too, something that's a little bit close to my heart and my work. So I'd like to share one of the comments he makes about the need for greater women's leadership. Let's take a look.
Good.
More females should take responsibility. I feel world become safer. I feel that. In Tibetan history, a lot of important spiritual leaders were, right from the beginning, female. female reincarnated High Lama. It is not unusual. So in the future, could be more useful, maybe a female Dalai. If majority of the world leaders eventually become female, maybe more peaceful world.
Well, he's speaking my language.
This is the first time I've heard an audience applaud on that. Thank you.
Well, that's this particular audience. But, he also acknowledges and why he so strongly believes in that. And by the way, wouldn't it be wonderful if there was a female Dalai Lama?
Yeah, it'd be incredible.
Yeah, well, it's possible.
Of course, His Holiness has said it.
Yes,
of
we have
course.
a new female.
It's up to him.
Exactly, it's up to him. He also acknowledges that the reason he feels that way so strongly was his relationship with his mother. And I hadn't heard him talk about that before, and it made me think a lot about how we are defined on this journey by our relationships with the women in our lives.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that? What has been the impact of women in your life?
His Holiness does talk about this a lot, and he's always revered his mother, who is Tenzin Gyatso's grandmother. I never met her. She passed away before I was in the community. Look, in my experience, women are much closer to reality. The fact of birth and death, of hunger, the mere fact of children coming out of your bodies, the feeding of children, the taking care of the house and the home, and how powerful that is, creating a safe environment for a family, navigating all the decisions that have to be made there. Much closer, I think, to the forces of nature. Men are kind of outliers, kind of living in their heads, frankly, in my own experience. And there's a certain power to that. There's a visionary quality, I think, to men's kind of warrior energy of going out. But it's not stable. I think the stable, compassionate, loving energy in the universe is definitely female.
Could we run you for office somewhere? Could we start a Richard Gere for President campaign, maybe? No, clearly women are not the only compassionate, kind human beings on the face of the earth. What we're looking for is the balance between compassion and kindness in every human being, and enhancing that which the...
Well, His Holiness talks about this balance of these kind of energies. Yes. I mean, we have female bodies, we have male bodies. That's the manifest part of a consciousness is we have bodies. From a Tibetan point of view and a Buddhist point of view, the bodies represent certainly something way beyond a sexual orientation. And strangely, we talk about women being compassionate. From the symbolism of Tibetan Buddhism, a female represents wisdom. Wisdom. Wisdom realizing emptiness. Now, this is the highest level of human intelligence, is understanding that everything is relative, everything is impermanent, everything is empty of inherent existence, coming from its own side. Not to really, not just know that intellectually, but to know that in the deep fiber of your being, that wisdom is female. And you could understand that in the birth process, you're birthing universes. You're birthing literally the universe from a woman's body. Yeah. Now, in the same thing, the other side is the symbolism of a male is compassion. It's kind of what that wisdom does in the world. Mm-hmm. That active energy, in some ways, is this male aspect, which perfected becomes compassion. But it needs to be perfected. If it's not perfected, it's dark.
Yeah. And we need both. And
we need both together.
Women can help on the journey.
They use the thing of a bird, you know, you need both wings to fly.
We could have this conversation for quite a long time, which I would enjoy, and I think everyone would. But there is always with us, this community in particular, we like to know what's the intention, what's the intervention, what would you give us as the challenge and the call to action as we leave, knowing we need more kindness, we need more compassion, putting that into practice.
Yeah, His Holiness has said many times, and he's quite powerful about this. He said prayers are good, they're quite powerful. But if you want to change the world, you have to be in the world. You have to do something.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of people doing things, but they don't know why they're doing it. They don't know how to be skillful doing. And from a Buddhist point of view, the only thing we ultimately can control is our own motivation. Where am I coming from? What is it? What's the basis of who I am that generates the action? So as much as to the degree that we can purify ourselves from the egocentric point of view, which has poisoned us and created chaos from the very beginning, to the degree we can purify that, transform that, we can have the vastest possible motivation, which allows for the big vision to actually happen and actually gives us more energy. You know, it's unstoppable. Dalai Lama, he's going to be 91 in July. He still works harder than all of us in this room put together. Extraordinary. Yeah. You know, we just spoke to the Dharamsala, to the Sikyong, who was re-elected as president of the Tibetans in exile. And when Tenshu and I were just in Dharamsala, His Holiness was still as a 90-year-old, he was giving audiences 3 days a week for 500 people coming through. Each one had some special moment, something that elevated them, made them fly after having left it. He's now feeling better, so he's doing that 6 days a week. It's way beyond. When I travel with His Holiness, I can last a couple of days and I'm so exhausted.
Well, Richard, thank you for bringing His wisdom, His happiness, His joy, His hope, that we will have a better future, and for all that you've done for it too. Not just through your relationship here, but through your humanitarian work and your lifelong activism.
Thank you. And I just like to thank you. It is a great honor for me to be here amongst all of you, especially the honorees, you know, who are really doing such amazing things in the world. You know, I rejoice at the extraordinary things you guys are doing. And beyond that, my wish is that we all find a way to work together and really make something even bigger than we singularly have imagined, but are really able to create a paradise for everyone on this planet. You know, when I see these pictures from the astronauts on the other side of the moon, and the photograph of this little planet dangling in a vast universe, how could we have problems? How could we not take care of each other? How insane is this?
Well, because of the lessons you have shared with us, the film you have given to the world, and the way you have lived your life, we will do better.
Thank you.
Century, be happy, peaceful, and climatically suitable. That's in our own hands.
One final thing. When His Holiness received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1989, he was the first Nobel laureate to mention the environment. Number one. Let's work together on that one, okay?
Thank you.